Hi guys, this is Tekauti. I welcome you to this video tutorial on creating a featured image slider using ASP.NET Core and Angular 8. In the last video tutorial, we learned how we can run this application on Visual Studio Code. In this video tutorial, we are going to learn how we can add an admin area or dedicated admin section in our application to manage our application. So if a user had to perform any changes like creating, updating, deleting any data in your application, they would have access to a dedicated admin panel where they can go and they can change or edit the data. So if they had to go and access this admin panel, all they would need to do is / and type admin, which will redirect the user to the admin panel of your application. Currently, we don't have any admin panel or admin area. Therefore, we are redirected to the default page of the application. So in this video tutorial, we will be adding that admin area. So the first thing that we want to do is close the application, stop the application from running and go back to your file section. And once you are in your file section, inside your application, right click and add a new folder. We will call this folder as areas. So let's add that. To add the folder, we will click on this option here which says folder, new folder, and we will give the folder a name called as areas, AREAS. Now the areas can contain different types of areas like admin area, customer area, moderator area. Since we are only going to have an admin area in this application, so we are going to first create a new folder inside the areas folder and call it as admin. And now inside the admin section or the admin area will have its own controllers and its own views to manage the uh, admin area's actions. So first thing that we want to do inside the admin folder is add a folder, call it controllers, and inside the admin folder again we will add another folder and call it views, which will contain all the views related to the admin area. Now let's add some files inside these folders that we just created. Here we are going to follow the model view controller architecture. Therefore, uh, the each controller will have its view. So first thing inside the view folders we need to add is the view import file and the view start file. So if you have not worked with ASP.NET MVC, just to give you a intro on what is needed in order to load your views in the browser, we need to have a view imports file and a view start files, and I'll explain to you what these files do as we proceed. So first thing, add a file inside the views folder and call it underscore view import dot cshtml, view imports dot cshtml, and then add another file inside the views and we call it as underscore view start dot cshtml. We use the underscore before the file name to indicate this is a partial view. So inside the view imports dot cshtml file, we will add two directives, which is one is the namespace, adds namespace, and we will specify our namespace, which is featured image gallery dot area dot admin, and then the views. So this particular view is in the following namespace. Now what is an add tag helper directive? Add tag tag helper directives are not added by default. If you want to use them in your CSHTML files, then you will specify them in your underscore view imports CSHTML file. Just to keep it short, since this is not an ASP.NET MVC class, what is a tag helper? A tag helper is something like this, where we want to use ASP.NET tags in our application CSHTML file. And here we can specify the action name, like this is a tag helper, ASP dash action. This is not available by default. We need to add them by specifying that we want to use tag helpers in our views. Also, the star indicates that use tag helpers found in the entire assembly. So we are using star. It's a wildcard character. So for more information, I'll put the link in the video description. So go ahead, read about it. But this should be it for this particular file, which is underscore view imports. Now let's go to the view start file. What is this file? This file indicates the type of layout that is going to be applied to the entire views that we are going to create in for admin area. So an admin area will have a specific view layout, like we have the navbar on the side and we have the username on the top right and so on. So this is a particular kind of layout, and we want this layout to appear on all the views that we create for admin. So what we are going to do, we are going to add a tag here, and we are going to say that the layout is equal to, and we specify we want to have a layout, and what is called as admin layout. Okay, now this underscore admin layout is a partial view which we are going to apply on all views, but we have not yet created it. So let's go ahead and create that. Okay, so how do we create a layout view that will be applied on all the other views? If you know a bit of MVC, we know that in order to apply the view on all other views, we need to share them. So we will go ahead and create a folder inside our views and call this folder as shared. You cannot call this something else. It needs to be called as shared. So standard MVC procedure. Inside shared folder, we are going to create a new file. And any guesses what's the name of the file? Yes, the name of the file is an underscore admin layout, which we just created here. So go to shared, add a new file, call this underscore admin layout.cshtml. And that should be it for our admin layout. So this is the layout that we need to specify here. So let's go ahead and add some bootstrap code here. But before adding the bootstrap code, as we all know, we need to install, or we need to add bootstrap, which we'll do in the later video. But for temporary purposes, just to make sure that we have something on the page to display, we will just say hello admin. Now if we run this application now, we would not yet see the admin panel because we have created an area section, but we have not yet specified that we are going to use areas in our application. So when we try to access the admin area, we're going to get a route error. So first thing that we want to do here is, first let's go ahead and create a controller, a new C# class, or a new file, or a new C# class, and I'm going to call this as the home controller. Home controller. Home controller, and hit enter. Now I have something called as the home controller. So our admin's home controller is basically the controller that's responsible to display the contents of the home page. Now inside the home controller, we need to specify that this class inherits from controller. And why are we getting this error? Because we have not imported the required libraries or assembly references. So first thing is using system. I know guys, if we had to create this particular class using Visual Studio IDE, on Windows or Mac. Since we are using Visual Studio Code, we have to do this manually, or we have to install extensions to do this. There'll be many extensions which can make your life easier, but I prefer just adding them manually and then copy pasting them on other classes, the using statements. So currently we need the using Microsoft.asp.NET Core MVC assembly reference in order to make tell the ASP.NET Core app that this particular class belongs to this assembly. Once we have added the assembly reference, we'll not see any errors. And here, first thing that we want to do is we need to specify that this particular class belongs to an area and the name of the area is admin. Now also we need to create an action method. So for our index view, so the home page itself, so which is public and which is returning an I action result, and we will call this view as index. All this view is going to what it's going to do is just return the view. So that should be it for this particular class. So make sure you add the annotation here which says area admin. This class belongs to the admin area. Now we have an index view, so therefore we have an index action method in the controller, so we need to create a view for it. So let's go ahead and inside the views folder, first add another folder and call this home. All the views related or belonging to the home controller will be inside the home folder inside the views. Now inside the views, we need to create a view which is called as index. So let's add a file inside home folder and call it index.cshtml. Enter. And here all we want to do is specify the title for this particular view. We will see the title of the page on the tab of the browser. So we gave it a title of index. You can call this anything you like home, featured home page, or admin area, anything. So since the action name is index, I called it as index. Now I'm going to save this. So we are done with the views. We have created a home controller. We have an home view, that's the index view base view of our admin area. Now in order for us to run this application and access the admin area, we need to specify in the startup class of our ASP.NET application that we have areas. So as you see here in the routes, it says controller name forward the action method name. But now we have something called as areas. So we have to make sure that we have proper routing specified for this. So let's do that. So I'm going to remove this default route and add the following route which says name areas and template. If the area exists, then use the action method index of the home controller. If the area does not exist, then obviously it will use the regular controller. So now what we want to do is go to our uh, admin layout. We don't need this over here since we have an index view for the home page. You can put this over here, and then in the admin layout we need to add a decorator. So first let's create a div tag, and inside this div tag we want to display the contents of our action methods. So to display the content we have to use the add render body tag over here, directive. So no need a semicolon, so that should be it. Now any action method, whatever the view of the action method is, it's going to be rendered inside these two div tags, between these two div tags. So now what we want to do is go ahead and start our application to see if we have any errors. So let's start the application in the browser. So application is loaded. Let's try to access the admin area. So admin, and when we access the admin area, as you see, we have hit the default view, which is the home view, and which is uh, then the default action method, which is the index method. So the index view is rendered. So if we go to startup, we specified here in the startup that if the area exists, then go and find the controller home and then display the action method index as the default action method. So we have the index method that's being called by the controller, and the contents are rendered inside the layout of our admin panel. So this should be it for this video tutorial, where we learned how we can add a dedicated admin area in our application. Now, the next part or the next video would be where we will try to install Bootstrap jQuery in this application so that we can modify the UI of this admin panel and make it something presentable. So please like and subscribe my channel Tech Howdy. If you have any questions, use the comments section. If any links that are needed, I will specify them in the video description. Also, the code for this application or the project will be provided. The link will be provided for the dev of Repo. Thank you once again and have a good day.